Hello everyone, I'm Melanie with Paint and Crafty, and tonight it's Tuesday Night Draw Along, and we're going to be working on this sweet little bunny. I'm going to walk you step by step how to draw it, and then I'll show you some easy watercolor techniques at the end to be able to color it in. But no matter what, once you have it drawn, you can use whatever medium that you prefer. It could be acrylic, colored pencils, colored crayons, anything you have to be able to add the colors. So don't feel like you have to have watercolor to be able to do this drawing. Use what you have. So what tonight I'm going to be drawing on is a watercolor paper. The watercolor paper I prefer to use is Canson 140-pound watercolor paper. It's still considered a student grade, which means it's reasonably priced, but you get really nice results on this paper, and I've been using it for about 3 years now, and it's my go-to paper. Since I paint a lot, I like to use something that I can afford, and Canson is something I can afford. So that is the paper I'm going to be using, just a regular old mechanical pencil, an eraser, a little thing of water if you're going to be using watercolor, and then use whatever watercolor you might have. Thanks a lot, Jeannie. Hi, thanks for popping on. I'm just going to be using just kind of a real student grade watercolor as well, nothing too expensive. I'm kind of a firm believer, just use the watercolor that you can afford, spend just a tiny bit more on your paper, and you're going to get a good result. Well, let's go ahead and start. Oh, before I get too far, I wanted to say I do have a Ko-fi page, which is rather like a Patreon page. There is a sketchbook membership in there, so those who don't particularly care to like to draw, there is an option to be able to get my tracers, and then you can just go ahead and paint along with me. Hi, Donna. Thanks for coming on, ladies. Thanks for watching in YouTube, and thanks for watching in Facebook tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, you know how our YouTube loves to do that. I'm just a small little baby page and just starting out, so I appreciate all the help that I can get. Hi, my friend Deb. Thanks for coming on. I'm live in 2 different places tonight. One is on my Facebook page, and the other is on YouTube. So let's get started. So when I do my drawings, I grid it out just to be able to show you how large I'm drawing things, to give you an idea of scale of how big I'm drawing. This is a 6x6 paper, but you can draw it on anything you like. Hello, my friend Vicki. Thanks for coming on. Well, it looks like I have mostly YouTube watchers tonight. Thanks, everyone, for popping on. So let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with the face and the ears is where I'm going to start. Here's my center line here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just a U shape right here so I can kind of gauge if I have enough room for my ears. Now this little style of bunny, he doesn't have real big ears. Oh, and I forget, I think it's a Holland bunny is what it is. But I'm going to start with just kind of an upside down U shape here. I didn't draw it real big at that area, just enough to be able to set a chick is what I'm going to be doing. And let's take a look. We're going to come down just a little ways here, and let's draw our ears. So I'm going to come off to this side. I'm going to come up. Now this ear is kind of where he's more got it towards looking away from us. So I'm going to come down and then touch down this way. So I've got enough room there. And then let's come on this side. Now this ear, he's turned it towards us. So I'm going to come straight on. It's more of that V shape up and a V shape down. So then you can determine, did you get enough room to put some ears on there? Sometimes it's a little tricky. If you need to move it down a little ways, you can move this spot down. Open it up just even a little bit more so you have more room to add your ears if you need to lower it. And I thought I needed to lower it just a tiny bit more. I didn't want to give him a flat head. All right, let's take a look at how we're going to be doing this part of his face. So instead of coming straight down this way, I need to curve it out just a tiny bit for the side of his head. So we're going to bell it out just a little bit on the side. So I don't want to go straight down. So when here's the bottom of his face, I'm going to come up. I'm going to look at the bottom right now too, because I want to make sure I have enough room to put a chin in his little bit of his shirt that he's wearing. Hi, Mary. Thanks for coming on tonight. So I got to get this so it doesn't look flat. I'm a flat head. So I'm just going to put an eyeball here for where my chin is going to be too. So I've got it coming out on the side, so it's arching out this way. Now let's go ahead and pop some cheeks in. So now the cheeks are going to pop out this direction, and we're going to come this way on here. This is going to give them those fat little cute cheeks, and we're going to drop it down. this, a little bit of a smile face shape. And that's, we're not going to see a lot of the bottom of his face, but we're going to need some. Now take a look at yours. I always can see things a little different in the camera than I can when I'm looking straight on, because I'm kind of sitting off to the side. So just make sure your lines are coming this way first, so they're arching out and not straight down. And then these little lines here, kind of check to make sure that they're even on each side. And then take a look at your puffer cheeks and see if they're kind of puffed out equally on each side. And if they are, then let's go ahead and pop that center part of his face. So this little bunny has a white face. So I'm just going to look at my center line here, come up a little ways. Now you can make this an irregular shape as what I did. I kind of came down, just made it a little bit of a blaze in the front of his face, getting wider as I get towards my cheek line. I'm going to come out and then I'm going to come back in. And this way I'm going to go the same way. So when I get down to my cheek area, I want to widen this a little bit and bring it down. Oh, he already looks cute. He already looks cute. Let's drop in a nose. Now this time the nose is just got this little bit of a shape like this. A little bit wider. It takes up a little bit more room of his face. And then it's just a small little line and then just a tiny little V. Okay, so I'm going to erase this, open that up, that little center line, so I can see what I got going on. Let's put in that center of that ear before I forget. Let's add that little bit of a center like that. Cute. Now let's put on his eyes. So his eyes are going to add the character to your bunny. If you get them drawn too angled, he's going to look like an angry bunny. So you need to kind of do your eyes. Here, I'll show you a black and white version too. Let's bring it up here a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Where I have my little round, this is an oval shaped eye, but I've also got this line cutting off the bottom of my eye. And the part up here is cutting off kind of the side or the top of his eye. So if we get these lines too angled, he's going to look a little angry. So you're going to get a lot of character by the way you draw the eyes. So I'll show you how I did this one, but you might end up just doing, you could just do simple round eyes too, like we would normally do. Let's see if I have an example here. You could do an eye like this. We did an eye like this on this bunny that we drew along with. So you could easily pop in an eye if you don't want to try this eye, but I'm going to show you how I did this one. So I'm going to start off to the side here, and I'm going to make an oval shape off to the side here, make an oval shape. Now this is where you could just decide that you just want to pop in a simple little shape like that. But the way I did mine is I cut this off at the bottom, like that, cut the bottom of my part of my eye off, and then I cut the top off and kind of made it a little bit of a lash around like that. So, and then when I'm going to be coloring it in, and I will leave a highlight inside of that eye, a little catch light, and that's going to bring him to life. So that's how I did this one, but you can do it any way you want to. You sprinkled the bunny. Thanks so much, Deb. Thanks so much. Sprinkled the bunny. I like that. Let's go in and pop in his sweater. So the top of the sweater is up here. I'm going to make like a C shape this way. And then I can come over here and make a little backward C. Do these lines light because you may not see this part in the end after you get your carrots in there because he's got an arm full of carrots. So we're going to concentrate on those carrots and they might cover up part of that. But I wanted to draw that in so then I could draw his arms. So I'm going to draw his arms by coming off to the sides here at an angle. And I'm going to arch them out. Then I'm going to bring them right back towards me. Arch them out just a little ways, bring it right back towards me. I'm going to do the same thing on here, bring it out, kind of like a coffee cup handle, but not too strong of an angle. All right, so I have his arms like that. Now I need to do his sleeves. So the sleeves are going to be kind of a donut shape. So we're going to come up and then we're going to come down, and there's a little donut shape. I do want the bottom of my donut to be connected to the bottom of my sleeve. That makes sense. I want that bottom of that donut to be connected to the bottom of my sleeve. This is going to curve around. Now I want my little hand to be sitting in here. So I'm going to come out, and this is going to be an M shape, a puffy little M shape that comes in here. Whatever might be in there, so then his little hand is sticking inside. Now we're going to come around, follow that donut shape around again. And there his little hand is sticking out inside of his donut shape. Am I down low enough, everybody? Can you see? Do you need me to move my camera down a little lower? Let me know. Sometimes I have this set at different heights for different types of things, but I can most certainly move it down so you can see a little better. Hello, Susan. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. Now let's do this side too. So we're going to do that little donut shape this way again. Donut shape connected at the bottom. Do that little puffy hand. So a little M shape, bring it back, erase what might ever be in the middle. Let's copy our donut shape again, all the way around. Okay, so he's got his little hand sticking in his sleeve. Okay, cute as can be. Let's drop in some legs and feet before we go ahead and put our carrots in. So I'm going to have his feet come out, or his legs are going to be coming this direction. So I'm going to have one this way and then the other ones here. Again, draw these lightly because you might not see very much of it in the end once you get your carrots drawn in. Now to do the feet, we want big rabbit feet. Last time, sometimes our tendency is to make it too small, but we want to do a big rabbit foot. We're going to draw it like the bottom of a shoe is what you kind of think of. So it's going to be a little bigger at the top, and then we're going to get that little indent here and then around like a heel of a shoe. So this would be the top of his foot and then denting it around. Now let's come on this side and duplicate that same shape. It doesn't have to match exact, but you do kind of want to make sure it's about the same height. So you have those same big old rabbit feet. We're going to come around, do a little heel, like you're doing the heel of a shoe. Okay, now I have one too long. Let's do this one a little bit longer. I'm really concentrating on getting those feet big. Rabbits look silly with tiny feet, in my opinion. So I like to have those big old feet. So let's go ahead and pop in those little center pieces. So I'm going to put a pink spot here and another pink spot here, a round one. And we're going to come up here and do one, and then one here. Now you can add toes to your rabbit, and there's lots of different ways to add toes, but I'll show you how I added the toes on this one. To do the shape on the toes on this one, I did kind of a pointed M, like that, and then this little toe's got a point, but it's slanting in this direction, and this one has a point here. So that's how I did the toes on my rabbit, but you could just make them round, or you could actually leave them this way, but I think the toes make them look like it's feet instead of just a shoe. So we're going to do my little pointed M, cozy little toes together. This one's going to be the next one. Rabbits have 4 toes on the bottom, and then I'm going to swoop it down to touch my other side of my foot. So up, and then swoop it down, and then you can erase this part of your foot. And now he has some toes. But you can make them round too. They don't have to be pointed. So I'm going to come out here and do my M, kind of my pointy M. Do my next little toe over and then connect my foot. Come up and then connect this side too. There we go. Okay, we got it like that. Okay, cute as can be. Now we have our big old bunny feet. Now let's go ahead and add a cuff into his pants. So if you look here, you can see where I added the cuff line. I added just a little bit extra cuff here on each side. You might want to try to make it a little bit narrower at the top, and then when you come down, make it a little bit wider if that works for you. Again, you might want to draw these light because you don't know how much you're going to see in the end. Just depends on how your drawing might turn out. So I'm going to go a little taller than my pants, bring it a little wider, down to the bottom of my foot, and wrap it around there. So here we go on this side, and then down to the bottom of my foot, and I have the beginning. I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom yet because I'm not for sure where my carrots are going to end up. So I'm just going to leave that open until after I get my carrots in. Now let's go ahead and start popping in some of those cute carrots. Now I'm going to start with the big ones first, or at least 2 off to the side, really big. I have some that are going upside down and some that are going at an angle and all fitting in there. So you're just going to build your carrots however it might work. So I'm going to start up here. I know I'm going to have a big old carrot off to my side. I'm going to start with a U shape first. And then as my carrot goes down, it's going to get narrower. And then it's going to come to a point. I'm going to come to my center line here and then bring it back up. So there's my big old first carrot. Now I'm going to erase whatever might be inside. Just open up that space so I can have a better idea of what I'm looking at. And then I can stick a top in. So I'm just going to do a straight little one and then make some leaf marks off to the top, like so. Now let's go ahead and pop my next big carrot in, and that's going to be over here. This one was facing this way. I want to turn it a different direction. So I'm going to have my next big carrot maybe a little lower than this one. There's that little kind of U shape. And then I'm going to bring it back this direction. Okay, and then this one's going to come down. Okay, and erase what might ever be in the inside. That'll give me an idea of where how my carrot is looking. Okay, now's the time to add different ones on top. So I'm going to make one that's pointing out. I might not even see the bottom. So I'm just going to draw this one that's coming. It's going to look like it's behind. So all I'm going to do is just draw the pointed bottom of it. You won't see the whole carrot, just maybe the bottom part where it's sticking out like that. Now I'm going to come in here and make a shorter one. This one, I'll make it maybe come here. Maybe I'll only see just a part of it. And there'll be a top that comes up into your bunny face. That's okay. You just need to remember that you're going to be making a black bunny or a brown bunny. And so you might see some of that color blending together, but that's fine too. Now I'm going to turn one upside down. I'm going to do a big one this time. And I'm going to have it come over. I'm going to have it turned upside down. I'm going to have it be on top of all of these. So I'm going to do my rounded bottom here, then bring my point up like that. And whatever's inside of my carrot, I'm going to erase it because I want it to be in front. Okay, so now I can take a look at this and I can see, well, I probably see some of this carrot here. So I can add the bottom because now I know where it ends up. Now there would be greens going this way too at the bottom. All right, now I'm going to add another carrot here. I'm going to make a short one here, and it's just going to be a top. And maybe there'll just be a tiny bit of green, but not a lot. Now for this side here, perhaps there's a carrot. I got to make another one that's coming up from the bottom somewhere because I like things that are odd. So I'm going to put one that's maybe coming up in, let's see, let's go this direction here. So this would be a pointed end here. And then coming back down. And I would take a look at where it might end. That, and perhaps the greens are coming this direction. Okay, now maybe I do another big one here, and that will fill up this space, and that will be all orange. Okay, and then a little bit erased. Perhaps the top is here. Okay, I think I have most of my space all kind of filled up with carrots, so I don't think I need any more carrots. Now's the time I'm going to look to see where my pants might be, so maybe this time I'm going to have more pants. I'm going to fill in my leg here. I'm going to look here to see where it might make sense, where my leg might be there, and perhaps there's a little bit back there I would see. Okay, so I have my bunny done. It's time to start doing the watercolor. I'm going to erase this part. Now this one I did kind of a colorful background on it, more of a specialized circles, plaid type of thing. I'm not going to be doing this one live tonight, but I'll do a special recording and I will put that on my Ko-fi page. That's where you'll find it. So I'll have that over there just to take a little bit more time to do the background and show the idea of how to create that with a wax resist. So that's where you'll be able to find the video over there. And if you even just sign up to follow along on my Ko-fi page, sometimes I will put things in there that are just special for the Ko-fi, just the people who come over there. Pop in your email address and then you can get notifications anytime I put something special in there. And of course, if you're a sketchbook member, you will get the extra things there. Oh, I forgot to put that little chick on his head. We better do that. Let's do that little simple chick. Let's start with his tail. So this time I'm going to start with a U shape, just like that, coming up. That's his little body. This would be his tail. I'm going to put his head over here. So this is his tail. I'm going to come up and swoop it. So it's kind of a little sideways smile. Let's put a little head here. We're doing a snowman bird. Remember last week I was saying about how not to do a snowman bird. This kind of has that snowman feeling where it's just going to be a real simple little bird. But where the line of the circle is for the head, that's where I'm going to put a scarf. So we just got this here. We'll do a little scarf detail when I add extra parts on. And let's do his wings. So we're going to drop down and then it's a little W shape and back down. Okay, he's cute. We'll add some details with my pen when I get there. All right, I'm going to take my kneaded eraser since this has got, I'm going to lighten my pencil marks. So I'm going to come in with the kneaded eraser. It's great for erasing dark pencil marks. Picks up the graphite, it won't mess all over. You won't be able to do that with the other erasers that I use, which I probably don't have one sitting here. I have the Pentel harder eraser, which is like your eraser right here on the end of your pencil. I have big ones. Those are good for going in and erasing like the actual line work. But all that will do is smear your graphite all around if you try to do it this way with that particular type of eraser. So this way you're able to pick up some graphite without having it all smeared over your paper. Okay, that looks good. But you do need to have that harder one to actually get rid of some darker lines and some darker pencil marks. Any registration marks? Okay, he's ready. He's cute as can be. Let's go ahead and start with some black. So I'm going to start with my bunny, and I'm going to be using watercolor, but you could use colored pencils. Watercolor pencils work great too for these little tiny drawings. They work great for that. I'm going to have this little palette, a little ceramic palette. Those work great for watercolor. You can see the color that you're putting down in there, and you can wet your surface easily enough. Put that there. I'm going to start with my black. Now, when you get your watercolor set, if you're new to watercolor, I know there were some people who said today that they posted on my YouTube page that they were new to watercolor. So this, you want to, whatever watercolor set you use, do a watercolor chart, because then you're going to be able to see what your colors look like on your paper because they're translucent. They look so different here in your tray than they do on your paper. So I highly recommend making a color chart so you can have an idea of what your colors are going to look like. Put a piece of paper towel in your hand when you get ready, because that's how you're going to be able to control the water by dabbing off here and checking your color. And I'm going to come right in here with my black and put it over here. Now I'm going to mix to tea consistency. Now my black is a warm black. All blacks are are different. Yours might be a blue black, but mine's kind of a warm, has a little bit of brown in it. So I'm going to start with tea consistency. With watercolor, you start light and then work your way dark. So I'm going to start here with his ear up here. Now you can also, and I should have dabbed that off just to not have so much water on there. If you can leave a little bit of highlight or a pure white on your drawing and from your painting when you're painting, not to fill in your whole space, that's actually kind of preferred in watercolor, because you can't get your whites all the way back after you fill it in. So if you can leave a little bit of white and not color in all your places, those will be your brightest highlights. With watercolor, you're painting in the shadows. So it's a little different than acrylic paint. Now I'm going to start in the face. I'm okay with that because this is going to be black, that's black. Wherever water is or the paper's wet, that's where your watercolor is going to want to flow. So if I didn't want it to be black, I wouldn't want to start that area because that ear color is going to run down into this next layer. I'm going to try to leave just a little bit of light around that eye, if I can get that to happen, and maybe even a little white areas on his cheek. I can come in and add more black, but I can't add the white in once I fill it in. So I'm going to try to leave a little bit. Now it's not going to be black the very first time. Even though it is black, you're going to have to add another layer or two to get it covered up. But that's what's going to give it a great look though too, because you're going to get some browns, you're going to get some blacks. You might get light gray if your black has more blue in it. Okay, so let's let that dry a little bit. He's already coming to life. Yeah, he is a cute bunny. I think he's extra sweet. Now I'm going to start working a little bit on that pink sweater in the very background. So I'm going to take a light pink. You can make whatever color you wanted, but I thought he would make a fun spring bunny, Easter bunny. Our weather here in Minnesota where I am, well, you know what? I need to let that dry. If I went in with my pink right here next to my black, that pink would want to just follow right up into the black because it's wet. So I need to give that a chance to dry. So let's bop down and work a little bit on his pants. I'm going to start with a light green. The weather here where I'm at in Minnesota was beautiful today. We were having a 40-degree weather, which is so unusual for Minnesota in this time of year. For February, doesn't usually happen. Doesn't usually happen. Usually this time of the year, we're all tired of winter and looking forward to warmer days. We just haven't had that happen this year in Minnesota. It's been a very unusual winter. I'm going to pop in just a tiny bit here for his pants. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of a blue-green too. So this color is wet that I just have on there. So I'm going to pick up kind of a bluish green, mix a little bit of green, and I'm going to tap just a tiny bit of that darker. I mixed some blue-green in with this brighter green just to give it a shadow. So I'm going to pop that in, add a little bit of darkness, add some here too. Okay, there we go. Come in here. Usually this time of the year, I'm thinking about heading to Florida, but you know, since we've had such beautiful weather, I'm not thinking we're going this year, which is going to be unusual for us. Okay, there we go. Got that done. All right, now maybe I could go ahead and start some of that pink, the black. The one thing about this not being 100% cotton paper, it dries fairly quick, whereas a 100% cotton paper would take a little longer to dry. So because this doesn't have as much cotton in it, it's going to dry quicker. That's one of the good things about using the less not 100% cotton paper. I like that part. I'm going to pop in wherever my carrots aren't. That's where my background of your shirt, however, whatever color you made it, that's where you're going to see that color. Okay, we're going to pop that in. I'm also going to add a little bit of shadow with this right now too while it's wet. So that was my lightest pink. I'm going to come over and choose just a tiny bit darker pink next to it. And I'm going to darken it up just a little bit. Because my paper is wet, those colors are going to want to blend together. So I'm going to add the shadows behind. I'm not trying to cover up everything I just put on, but I want to add a shadow layer. And I might end up having to add a third layer of shadow. Watercolor is always going to dry slightly lighter as it dries. Just the opposite of acrylic paint. Acrylic paint dries slightly darker. Watercolor dries slightly lighter. Okay, let's let that dry. He's already looking cute. Let's go ahead and continue on with our pink. Let's pop up into our ear now, the one that's kind of facing away. I'm first going to add some peach, this light color peach over here. One of my favorite colors. I love that little color of peach. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of peach on the inside of his ear. And while it's wet, I'm going to pick up some of this pink and I'm going to tap a little bit of pink in there too. Cute. Now let's work a little bit more. Let's come down here. His pants have had a little bit of time to dry. I'm going to pick up my black now. Again, this is my first layer. So I'm going to come in and add a little bit of black on his feet. And again, if you can, leave a little bit of white. Try to leave a little bit of white if you can. It takes a little practice to be able to do that and to remember to leave a little white. Okay, here we go. Our tendency is wanted to cover it all the way through. Some of that, you'll get that habit by, tapping your brush a little bit on your paper towel before you start so your brush isn't so loaded. That will help control that a little bit more so you have a little bit more opportunity to add those white spots in there because your brush isn't so loaded. Okay, cute. All right, let's work some on those carrots. So I'm going to choose kind of a bright color orange first. Ooh, my colors are all mixed together. That's really an ugly orange. That looked like orange with a little bit of green in there. Let's try that over again. There's my color I'm looking for, just a nice color of orange. Again, this will be about tea consistency. The two consistencies you'll hear people talk about is tea and milk. Milk has more pigment in it, less water. tea is going to have a lot more water and less pigment. Again, on these carrots, I keep on saying it tonight, but if you can leave just a tiny bit of white as a highlight, this is our first layer, so we're going to definitely be adding darker layers. Okay, all my carrots are wet, and I'm going to come right in and add, I'm going to come in right now and add another darker shade of the orange. So I'm going to come in with my orange, and I might even add just a tiny bit of brown into my orange, kind of a off shade of brown just to darken it up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to lay in that next shade of shadow of, now this back one here is going to be a lot darker because it's way behind the carrots. And I want it to be the darker of the value. And this one here is going to be fairly dark too because it's behind. This one would have a shadow here because it's behind back there. And that one is going to be darker as well. Okay. Let's pick up a brighter orange this time. I'm going to add a little bit more red to my orange this time. So I'm going to change it. So I'm going to do kind of a reddish orange. So I have a little bit of orange, a little bit of my reddish orange next to there. A lot less water. There's mostly pigment in there. Hi, Cynthia. Thanks for sprinkling so much. I'm going to come right in and add just that next darker color. So this guy is behind. It's going to be the darkest one. That one is in front. This guy here is behind, so I'm going to add even more shadow to that one. Okay, and then this one here is going to be darkest here. Okay, they're coming to life. Now I need to pick up another bright color. I'm going to come back to that original orange that I used, just the plain orange, probably about tea consistency, because I'm going to lay a layer on top of my lightest ones. So I'm going to add that, but I still want those to be bright. I don't want those to lose all that bright layer. Okay, I'm going to stop. So those carrots are really coming to life by adding those 3 different tones of orange. That's going to bring your carrots to life. So take a little bit of time, do your layers, add and mix. So the colors I was using is this orange, orange, orange here, and this little bit of red. And then I added some brown, this darker brown, into my colors to make it kind of a dirty orange. So if you give yourself at least 3 colors of orange and build your carrots up, that will give a lot more depth to your painting. Now I can see here I'm going to add just a tiny bit of green into my pants. All right, let's go ahead and layer another little bit of black layer up here. So I'm going to take that same black, probably about still tea consistency. I don't want to get too dark right away. So I'm going to come in, you love him. I'm going to come in with the same tea consistency, same black, but I'm adding that next layer of shadow. So I'm going to think about, where is my shadow? Well, it's probably off to the outside. I'm going to try not to cover up everything I have on there because those are my highlights. So this would be my next shadow area. And I want to add the next layers of shadow. Taking my time. Let's add a little bit more black. Tea consistency. You can tap it on your paper towel. Make sure you don't have too much water in there. Oops, I got it into his eye. I am going to use my marker, my Uniball, or not my Uniball, my Micron pen to do his eyes. I just feel more confident doing it that way. Now, if you just do something like I did where I got the black where I didn't want it, it's a little black dot, rinse your brush out in your water and then go over into your clear water just to give it a double wash. Then come in and on your paper towel, and you can actually squeeze it and then create a really dry brush and then come in and lift your color. So that can help. You can lift some of your color out if you get it into spots where you don't really want it. Okay, let's see how this guy is drying. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more in here. All right, let's do his feet one more time. Coming in for my black and adding that next layer. Toes. How's your bunnies coming? Is they looking pretty cute? Are you happy with those? The ones who are drawing and painting along with me tonight? Are you liking your bunnies? Here we go. Okay. Cute, cute, cute. All right, we're going to give that a little chance to dry. I'm going to do his hands. So I did his hands kind of the same black color. This one's got that tea consistency. So I'm going to start light. Lose the little bumps on his fingers. Okay, there we go. You're not sure yet? Okay, so for the face part where it's white, I am going to even water down my black even more than tea consistency. Now, if you have gray, you could take a cool gray if you wanted to make it, but I'm just going to use the same black, but I'm going to water it down quite a lot. Check my paper. And then I'm going to come in here and add just a little bit of shadow on the white because I don't want it to be so stark white. And I'm going to move that around his face here. Then I'm going to come in, clean my brush out with wet, clear water, tap it. And I can come in here with just clear water and kind of push and pull that color a little bit so I don't end up with a band of gray. I'm kind of looking for more of a floating color of gray. Okay, cute. All right, let's work a little bit on that nose. So I'm going to take a little bit of my pink that I used over here, and I'm going to add a little bit of peach to it. So I'm going to take a little peachy pink and make kind of a sweet little coral color, because I don't have that color in my palette, but I can mix it with my peach and my coral. And then I'm going to tap his nose just up and down, adding a little bit of color on the end of his nose. Then I'm also going to take that color and I'm going to do some cheeks. Now this is still wet yet for my gray, and I'm going to come in and just tap, but I'm not looking to do totally round. So I'm going to have some open spots. I'm going to come in, clean my brush off, give it a tap, 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 and then this is just clean water, and I'm going to lightly tap those cheek areas to soften those cheeks. Cute. Let's start from the beginning, but absolutely love him. I'll have to give him a try. Oh, I hope you do, Cynthia. I hope you do, and you give him a share. I'd love to see your work. Now let's work a little bit on that chickie. I'm going to come down to more of a yellow color, kind of a golden rod color here. And I'm just going to be layering in some color. I'm just going to be tapping it in. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of orange. I have some orange still sitting here, just a tiny bit on my tip of my brush. And I'm going to tap some of that at the bottom of his belly while my color is still wet, a little bit at the bottom here. I'm going to use my brush, but I'm going to clean it out. And I'm going to make sure there's not a lot of water in it. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of darker orange just straight out of my palette. So I'm going to come here and take it right out of my palette, just on the tip of my round brush. And I'm going to come in and do his beak. I don't have a lot of moisture on here. Now, if you're using gel pens, you could do this little bit looking detail right with a gel pen and not use your paintbrush if you didn't want to. You could easily do that too. Now we have to put some stems, greenery, on these little carrot tops. So let's do a little bit of work. Let's see, I'm going to come in, do a little bit of green. I'm going to use that spring green color. And I'm just going to tap in some tops. just here and there. Nothing too exact. Now, if you put that in and you think your green is too bright, you can always add a little bit of brown to your green, or you can even add a little bit of red to your green to neutralize it a little bit. Okay, there's that. I'm going to be going a little bit over there. Have a little here that's going to kind of go up into his face, just a tiny bit. Then I've got some here too, and I might have to darken this up a little bit in order to be able to see it because it's going over his pants. I'm going to come in there, and then I'm going to come here too. We're going to add some details to our carrots with my micron pen, so that will be adding on there. Now this is dry enough to work in my feet, so I'm going to do that peach pink look like I did up in his ear. I'm going to do the same thing on his feet. So I'm going to take some of that peach color, and then I'm going to be laying that on first. And then I'm going to be tapping in my pink on top of it. It's kind of got a nice little puddle look to it, and then I'm going to take a little bit of my pink and I'm going to tap that in there while it's still wet. That might be too much of a puddle. Might be too much of a puddle that I put in there. So again, I can rinse my brush off, give it a squeeze, and create a thirsty brush and pick up some of my color so I don't have such a big puddle, which I did have a big puddle. Watercolor paper is meant to be able to withstand a lot of water, but you know, you can get too much water. Okay, I'm thinking I need one more layer of dark on my bunny's face around in the black. So I'm going to take a little bit more black, less water this time. A little bit more pigment. Okay, definitely take your paper towel. I need a new paper towel because I got way too much on there. My husband, his Valentine's gifts just now, used to play the guitar, so I bought him a toy ukulele and some, oh, that's nice, so sweet. Yes. One year I bought my kids ukuleles for Christmas one year. They kind of looked at me very odd. But you know who plays them now are the grandkids. So the grandkids will pick them up and play them, which is fun. But my boys both played guitar when they were high school age, and one has still kept up with like the bass guitar and does that. And the other one, he'll sometimes play, but not as much as he used to. I really did enjoy when they played too. Now we're going to come in here and add that next deepest color. I better tap this so I can control not get myself too fast, too quick, and end up covering up. I work so hard to have those light spots to cover them all up. I don't want to do that. Tap. Okay, his hands need another layer. And his feet might need another layer. If your feet aren't quite dark enough, like if they look a complete different color than your rest of your bunny, go ahead and add another layer of your black on there to darken them up if you're doing a black bunny. Super cute. Super cute. Okay, I think I'm done with the watercolor. I'm going to go ahead and start doing some pen work on here and bring him to life. Jerry was as good as Chet Atkins. Wow. Wonderful. I'm sure you do miss that. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some sketchy work on here. I'm going to start with the carrots. So on the carrots, they would have some lines that come across to give it that carrot look. So I'm going to come in and do just a real loose sketch work on here. It's not important that you follow your lines that you drew or anything like that. I'm going to come across with kind of a slight little swoop and then do some little zigzags every now and then. So coming across, and I'm going to just add some of that carrot feel to my carrots. And come down below. I like doing this real loose line work. Quick sketching, some people will call it, just like a quick sketch. And often I won't pick up my pen. I will just leave it down and then travel along and keep my line continuous. Cute. It's coming to life. Okay, so I've just added a lot more detail by adding that pen work. Now I'm going to come into his pants. You can also add a little bit of doodle patterns to yours as well by adding, you know, some stitch marks or extra line work to give your drawing even a little bit more interest. Okay, so you can see over here, I broke up my lines and gave it a little bit more pattern. I'm adding those little lines. I'm using a 01 tonight, and the this pen, the Micron, is an archival ink, so it'll stay nice and flat. It won't move around on you once it dries. Now let's see if I can't locate my eyes here. And I'm gonna add in my dark spots, but leave a little white. I'm gonna add that bottom part there. All right, add that there. I like doing the white spots by hand. I just think they look a little bit more, I like the wonkiness of having the uneven white spots. Now this little guy happened to have not very much white paper underneath there where I put my white spot. If you need to strengthen the white spots, you can always take your Uniball pen if you have one to make that white a little bit more strong. Now I did do a little bit of kind of little hatch marks here on the top of his nose just to give it a little bit more whimsical character, and then come down. Now he does have to have some whiskers since he's a bunny. So I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do 5 on each side. The quicker you do this and the faster you do it, oh, maybe I should do this one before I do it, in case I end up in there. The quicker you do it and make a commitment to doing it, the better they're gonna do it, so, or look. So I just come in, choose a spot, pull it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Come over here, do the same thing. You can turn your paper, oh, and I ran my hand right through wet watercolor. Oh, that's never good. Okay, I might have to try to see if I can fix that. Ran my hand right through it. Okay, so let's go ahead and, that's the one thing when you're doing watercolor is to pay attention to where your hand is going. Okay, I'll just kind of scrub it out a little bit with some clean water. And you won't really notice it too much, I don't think. Okay, let's continue on with a little bit more detail here. I'm going to come in the inside. And by doing this kind of a sketchy line look, you're going to give your rabbit a little bit of furriness too, just by doing this irregular line. And I'm going to give my little chick some extra little fluffies too by just doing an irregular line. I didn't do a little bow on him, but I could come in and just do a black one maybe. If you're doing gel pens, this would be a good location too to do a little bow with your gel pen, would be super cute. Now let's add a little bit of fluff to my bunny ear. So I'm even going to come out past a little ways of what I drew, so I might have a little bit more white showing there. And I can come in and add little wispies on the edges to give it a little bit more furry look to it and add some more character that way. Okay, he's really cute. Let's add just a simple little background. Maybe I will take my Uniball pen and brighten up his little whites of his eyes so then he kind of matches on each side. There, cute. Oh boy, I did really mess that up. I'm still messing it up. I need to leave my hand out of that poor little foot. It keeps on, it keeps on messing him up. You're gonna give him a try tomorrow? Good, I'm glad. I really did enjoy your bird you shared. For those who might be new to my page, I do have a painting crafty Facebook page, and that's where I encourage everybody to share their pictures. If you draw one and you would like to share it, I love to share everybody else's work as well, because I think you're a great encourager to those who are just starting out, and it doesn't mean it's not good if it doesn't look like mine. And everybody has different ideas, and it's fun to see all the different versions that people come up with, and I love to share it. So if you post it underneath there, I will share it, and it's just really fun to be able to have such a great community who supportive of each other, and they're all just a fun group of people that we draw together weekly on the Painting Crafty page. Okay, I'm just going to add this simple little pink. Now tomorrow I will post how I did that little bit fancier one, and I will put that on my Ko-fi page. If you pop on over, you'll be able to see it even if you're not a member of the sketchbook membership. I will post it there, and you'll be able to see the wax resist technique that I used to create that background. So here's the one I'll show that on my Ko-fi page. And here's that spot where you can find me over on Ko-fi. If you want to find me, that's where you're going to find me. And this is the one I did tonight. So I always say they don't look like twins, but they could be related, right? This little guy had longer legs. He got longer legs. This guy had shorter legs. So they all come out a little different. And each time you do them, they will be different too. So the sketchbook people, the sketchbook members, they received their sketch tonight to be able to trace and have their sketching over there. They can use it any way for their personal use that they want to. And it's very reasonably priced. It's also just a great way to support my page. I so appreciate those who are over there and support me monthly. So it's great to have those members. I so appreciate them. Well, that is it for tonight. I will be back on Thursday, and I will be just on YouTube on Thursday nights. So that's where you'll find me. I'm not for sure what we're going to do, but I'm sure we'll be doing something cute. We always focus on cute on Painting Crafty. All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for stepping in. Thanks a lot, Gloria. I'm looking forward to seeing your version. You're welcome. You're welcome.